Let's go to today's day then. Maybe. There we go. So let's go into parallel, perpendicular, and neither. And open up your digital notebook 11. So actually, you don't need to be in this page because your digital notebook is at the beginning of the unit. But what I'd like for you to do is open up this. Oh, there are my text messages or chats. Excellent. So I want you to open up that digital notebook, your copy of it. We did slope yesterday. Is everybody okay with finding slope? Oops, there we go. Now I want to talk about parallel, perpendicular, and neither. So our task for today is to look at different lines, and sometimes you're going to be given lines and sometimes you're going to be given points, and figure out if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So the first thing we need to do is make our slopes the opposite reciprocal. So if I give you a slope of 3/4, what's the opposite reciprocal of that? What should I type in that box? -4/3, absolutely. So in this box, hopefully I haven't overtaken your whole screen, you can write -4/3. Okay? What about the negative reciprocal of 2? It is almost -2. That's a great thought. Is there an invisible denominator under 2? There is. So 2 is really 2/1 in a fraction. So I do need that negative 100% because we got to make the opposite sign. It's got to be 1/2. And that 1 is invisible in our whole number. So you got to remember that whole numbers have an invisible 1 underneath. What about -7/8? What's the negative reciprocal of that? Positive 8/7. Do I need to write the positive? No. How about 1? What's the negative reciprocal of 1? That one is just -1. You are 100% right. So -1. How about 0? If I have a slope of 0, what's the perpendicular line? Remember, the slope of 0 is horizontal. The 0 will sit right on top of it. So what's a perpendicular line to that? The undefined one. So here I want you to write undefined. You might need to make the text box bigger. Oh, they're all linked. Okay. So what I want you to do is take a minute and choose 2 of these 5 problems to do. I don't want you to do all of them because we're getting ready to do a bunch of them together. But I want you to do any 2 of them. You might need to zoom in a little bit so you can see. I'm going to stop sharing so you have. What did I do wrong?
It wasn't a negative focus.
Is the problem here? So that should be a -3 and a -4. So this one should be a +4, which means this is going to be parallel. Nice. Okay. What about number 2? Who did that one? Is perpendicular correct? Sweet. What about number 3? Is it right? Is number 3 parallel? Hopefully nobody did number 3. Did anybody do number 4? Is it neither? Okay. So make sure you grab those. Does it make sense? You just find the slope of each pair of points and then compare them. If they reduce to something that's exactly the same, then they're parallel. Make sure you take account for all of those signs, right? There are a lot of places to make little tiny integer errors in this. If they are negative reciprocals, I've got 2/5 and 5 over -2. Those are perpendicular, right? Those are the opposite reciprocals. Again, if they're exactly the same, and you had to reduce these because this was like -14 over -7, and this one was 8 over 4. In this form, they don't really look like they should be the same. You have to reduce those fractions, okay? Do we need to do the last one all together just to be sure, or are we good? Let's move on then. So back in here, our next thing is going to be this Pear Deck practice. So I'm going to start that up and I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing because we don't need to. Oops. Too many windows, too many windows.